This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome to class, people. Today, I'm going to take class on BASH guideline because there has been update in 2024 on the management of syphilis and also management of syphilis in pregnancy. And I'll try to do the brief of it, okay? And if anything is not clear, you people can ask me, right? Let's started with some basics. So syphilis is we already know it is called like infection that is caused by bacteria, and this is spirochete. You can see this is the like electron graphic picture. Treponema pallidum, we already know that. Incubation period is from 9 to 90 days, but typically it is for 21 days. Okay. Now how it get transmits? It get transmits by mother to child. Transplantal passage could be there. Apart from this, it can also be another mode of transmission. We already know it is an STD. So by the sexual contact, it can be transmitted. Now another thing to notice that one third of sexual contact, uh, if the if the infection like sexual contact is there, out of those only one third will develop syphilis. Okay, and the transmission rates will be 10 to 60%. Now, site of entry is genital in heterosexual, but in 32 to 36% among like it can happen with the same sex relationship. Now, what are the important points from this page? That it is caused by spirochete, that is a bacteria, and incubation period is 9 to 90 days, and a mode of transmission we already know as it is STD. Apart from this, mother to child transmission, and one third of the sexual contact will only develop syphilis. Okay, so these are the few things that you have to know and that are directly asked in the exams. Now, syphilis has got divided into two parts. So primary syphilis, early syphilis and late syphilis. So early syphilis, then it is less from the infection if it is less than 2 years. And what would be included in early syphilis? It will be primary syphilis, secondary syphilis, and early latent. Early latent syphilis, the patient would have positive serology, but the symptoms are not there, and infection has occurred in last 2 years. Okay. Apart from this, late syphilis usually present for more than 2 years. Now, late syphilis is like mm, um, latent syphilis that is usually detected at the time of screening, because mostly the the patient will not have symptom. Usually for the in the obstetrics, when the maternal screening is done, then they suddenly they got to know that the VDRL or RPR, that test is done, that has come positive. So there would be a symptomatic phase and long term symptomatic phase, because incidental diagnosis could be there. Now, late syphilis category, another will be tertiary syphilis. Now, the tertiary syphilis may occur 20 to 40 years after initial infection. Now, you can imagine the patient get syphilis now. If it is left untreated, then so many years, 20 to 40 years later, they may have a late syphilis or tertiary, the tertiary syphilis, and it happens in one third of the patient if they gone untreated. Mostly they are diagnosed, but sometimes they will not be diagnosed and they left untreated. Then the disease would progress, and in one third of the patient, they will develop, tertiary syphilis. Now, apart from this, is the congenital syphilis, as mother to baby transmission is there. So, congenital syphilis, if it is less than 2 year of birth, it will be early. More than 2 year of birth, it would be late. Okay. So this is the basic classification, but it is important to have a basic knowledge, because many of the times, the people will make some mistake in that also. Now, primary syphilis, how it presents like. So it is important to know because it helps in answering the question. Now, usually there would be a single papule with moderate regional lymphadenopathy. It could be on penile area, labial, cervical, perianal. Usually it is single, painless, indurated base with clean base and discharging serum, but not pus. Now these are the, you can see. So this is the primary syphilitic chancre. It is single lesion, usually with a clean base, and the serosanguinous serum is coming, not pus. Okay. Again, you can see it from here also. It is usually single lesion, but it could be multiple if it is associated with HIV. Usually, it appears within like 9 to 90 days after exposure, and if no treatment is done, usually most of the time, it will go unnoticed. Hardly we see patient when they come for the primary syphilis. Then it will heal by itself within 3 to 8 weeks time, and because of that they go unnoticed. People will just say small blister ulcer, they will not pay attention to it also. Now like extragenital chancres can also be there, that you can see on the tongue, on the palate, lip, tonsil, pharynx, anywhere can happen. Okay, so this is the primary syphilis. Apart from this, secondary syphilis, 25% of the people who have primary syphilis, they will develop a secondary syphilis. Secondary syphilis is multi-system disease, and it usually occurs within 3 months after the infection. So it is occurring after 90 days or 3 months after the infection. People may have mucocutaneous rash and lymphadenopathy. Rash would be maculopapular. So these words are important because you get directly questions from here, and this rash you can see. Okay, this is a, it can occur in the palm and sole both. Okay, so that this is also a key word when you answer your questions. Okay, so it affects palm and sole in 11 to 70%. This percentage is not important, but only this much knowledge is enough. Now another mucocutaneous lesion that occurs are the mucus patches ulcer with a gray and white border. These are highly infectious, and these are condyloma lata. Usually it happens in moist area, perianum and anus. So you guys can see that this is the condyloma lata lesion. So it is a mucus patch ulcer with gray and white border. Okay, this is the gray and white border, and usually it affects the warm moist area. Okay, this is condyloma lata. So there are so many keywords are coming here. You will find some question, and there would be a keyword from here that helps you in giving the answer. Now secondary syphilis, I already said, it is a multisystemic disease. So there could be hepatitis, there could be glomerulonephritis that could be mediated by antibody treponema complex deposition and splenomegaly. Some of them will have like neurological complications, neck stiffness, photophobia, nausea, cranial nerve palsy, 8 nerve palsy, leading to tinnitus and the hearing loss. Okay, eye involvement happens, that happens mostly posterior, that is a interstitial keratitis and retinal involvement. And usually from this line question comes that what causes interstitial keratitis, and so the answer usually will be syphilis. Now this is the secondary syphilis. After that, secondary syphilis will resolve, and it will enter in a asymptomatic latent phase, and mostly it is less than 2 years, that is the early syphilis. And in this period, person will not have any symptom, but if any kind of if any investigation is done, that time it would be diagnosed. Not late syphilis or tertiary syphilis, as 1/3 of the people, if they don't get treatment, they will develop tertiary syphilis 20 to 40 hours years after initial infection. And it has got gamma lesion, gammetous lesion. You can see this is a gammeta. Okay, this is the gammeta. They would have cardiovascular disease. I will just show you the slide. Apart from this, they can have neurological complications also. Now, this is just a summary of the clinical features of late syphilis. Now, they could be like so many like clinical features are there, but important that is as per the exam purpose, like tabes dorsalis occur uh, 15 to 25 years later. It affects the like it affects the dorsal column of spinal cord. Usually this is the keyword, you will find this in your exam. Okay, so it affects the dorsal column. Apart from this, it causes Robertson pupil. So this like this involvement of spinal cord, dorsal column, and also like Robertson pupil, this would be the keyword sometime you get question from. So this is the features of tabes dorsalis that occurs if 15 to 25 year later. Cardiovascular symptoms of late syphilis or tertiary syphilis, it will be like occurs 10 to 30 years later, and usually it affects aorta, and it is the ascending aorta. So you will find in your question, and usually they ask the question that which part of the aorta is affected. So answer will be ascending aorta. Okay, and the gummatous lesions are also there. So this is a varying presentation, but where the questions are scattered, I have just pointed that part to you. Now clinical diagnosis. So clinical diagnosis, like full and whenever the patient comes, complete, full and accurate history has to be taken. So this would be the history points included, like when the diagnosis was made, any previous testing is done, any previous infection with a non-treponemal disease, and the obstetric history. Very important part is this you guys should know, and it may be asked in the exam also. Now, if the patient has got a diagnosis of primary syphilis, sexual partner in last 3 months has to be the STD screening would be done. If you get the patient from secondary or early latent phase of the syphilis, then all the partner in last 2 years has to be screened for STD and late syphilis. Imagine lifetime partners and possibly children, so all are required to be checked for the syphilis or the STD screen. So this part was like this part very clearly mentioned in this new guideline only. So this part you guys may get question, part 2 people, and part 3 people, when you get the station, that time you have to explain that what type of syphilis is there. They would give a scenario, you have to diagnose what type of syphilis is there. According to that, you have to speak about the screening. How long back the partner screening is required. So this is very important. Now examination like general examination and the systemic examination, I will not speak too much about it. Now how to diagnose it. Now, like diagnosis can be done with the direct method. What are the direct methods? Direct method, we just want to check the bacteria. So this is direct ground microscopy. Usually what is done, they will take like swab from the lesions, and they will check they will check this trypanoma. So when they look under the dark ground field imaging, so this kind of picture of the trypanoma is there. Okay, so if they are able to directly see the organism, then it is confirmatory. Apart from this, from the site of lesion, they can do molecular testing for Treponema pallidum. That time they will check for the DNA. Okay, they will check the DNA for the Treponema pallidum. So this will be a kind of direct detection method, that is DG direct ground microscopy. Apart from this, PCR, that would do the molecular testing for DNA of Treponema pallidum. But these are very small, very less number of time, they are able to get these kind of these direct investigations. Because when the person look at see you, that time the patient will be asymptomatic. So finding direct organism becomes is like kind of difficult. Now this, what kind of tests are there? Now you just this part is important to understand, because people would make mistake here. The test, they are divided into two parts. This is non-treponemal test and this is treponemal test. Now non-treponemal test, these are the non-specific test. Okay, so what they detect antibody that are produced in response to Treponema pallidum bacteria. Okay, now these tests, they're detecting the antibodies. Now, and these are non-specific tests, non-treponemal test, non-specific test. So in this, antigen consists of cardiolipin, with which they are doing test, lecithin or cholesterol, and the name of test is VDRL and RPR, that we already aware, and we do it for every patient. In our countries we are doing VDRL, but in UK usually RPR is done. Okay, and usually these tests usually produce results 6 weeks after infection, reach peak at 1 to 2 years, and remain in very low titers in the late disease if the infection is untreated. Okay, so this part is important to understand. Now these are the non-treponemal and non-specific tests. Now second category of tests are treponemal tests. That means they confirm the presence of syphilis by detecting treponemal antibodies. Okay, they are detecting specific Treponema pallidum antibodies. So these are no, these are specific tests or treponemal tests, and there are four types. Okay, these are EIA, that is a treponemal enzyme immunoassay, CLIA, that is a chemiluminescent immunoassay, TPHA, that is the heme agglutination test, and TPLA, that is the latex agglutination test. Okay, so this test would aim directly for the treponema. So these are treponemal tests. Apart from this, now for first time when they are doing test, they will do EIA and CLIA, because they want to detect both IgG and IgM antibodies. These are the first screening tests that they are used. So this part is clear, people. What is a non-treponemal test and what is treponemal test? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now a confirmatory test. So first they will do the screening test. When the screening test is like done, then they will confirm it with the treponemal test. So this will be the treponemal. They can do this treponemal test, TPHA and TPLA. So TPHA and TPLA, they will confirm with this. But sometime, these tests are not possible, or they are not done. Then second time they will do same test, EIA and uh, and CLIA. Okay. So let me repeat it again. When they diagnose the infection, then they will do screening test. After these are the screening test, EIA and CLA. Now one time the test has come positive, then they would confirm it. For the confirmation, they will do either these two tests if possible. If these two tests are not there, then the second time again they will do the same screening test for the confirmation. Okay, same is written here. Now why they want to do screening test again? Because TPHA and TPLA, they are less sensitive as compared to EIA and CLA. If they have to do the second sample, it has to be done at least within a gap of 2 week time, so that serological marker can be revealed. Okay, so these this way, the once the diagnosis, once the patient is picked up that the possibility of triple like syphilis, then they will do primary screening test, and then they will do confirmatory test. Confirmatory test, it will be either TPHA, TPLA, or second time same test will be done. Okay, this way the confirmation is done. Now, RPR test, if the titer is more than 1 is to 6, 1 is to 16, usually this RPR they do test They do it in a dilution. Okay, so some they you will get a value. So if it is 1 in 116, then it is active disease and the need for treatment is there. Okay, but this RPR, it can be positive in low titers, even in the treated people also, or if in that situation, they will see for the titers. If there is a fourfold rise in comparison to the sample they have taken early, because second sample is taken within a gap of 2 weeks, then it will be recent infection. Apart from this, if they want to see the serological response to the treatment, they will do quantitative test. This part is important to remember. Treponemal test may remain positive throughout the life, despite the adequate treatment, and should not be used to assess the disease activity. So this treponemal test may come positive, and even after the adequate treatment also. So we really cannot think that they can be used to assess disease activity. So if any test is positive, there would be a retest after 2 weeks, there would be reconfirmation, then only the treatment would be done. Apart from this, when we do like explain the obstetric patient, then we just say that this is the only STD that is treatable. Syphilis can be treated, okay. Apart from this, another important thing to remember, for syphilis, the formation of antibodies are there. They help in the detection of the test, but these antibodies, these are not protective. So if a person gets syphilis and complete treatment is done, in spite of that, we have to explain the patient about not ways not for the safe sex practices and all, because the syphilis they can get again also. Okay, there is no long immunity for the syphilis. Okay, so this part I have already explained. If the repeat screening is done, there has to have a 2 weeks time, and in if the high risk contact is there, now the test is done and test come negative, then what you will do, then the recommended screening will be after 3 months time. Okay, so for the diagnosis, repeat test will be 2 weeks time, and for high risk patient, if right now the test has come positive, repeat test will be after 3 months time. You can get question from here. Okay, as I already told you that when we are doing this non-treponemal test, they check for the antibody, and they are using lecithin and all other as antigen. So for other conditions also, the test may come positive. Okay, and so false positive test may be there, and false negative test can also be there. False negative syphilis serology, that means the patient has syphilis, but our test comes negative. Why it happens? Now these are the reasons. Now uh, they can be negative before Shankar develops, and maybe negative up to 2 weeks afterwards also. So this is because of that we do repeat test. The test will be negative within 3 months of infection, and so we cannot exclude early syphilis. It could be there in immunocompromised patients. That means antibody formation is not there. False test can be there in the secondary syphilis or early latent syphilis. Why? Because too much of antibodies are there. Because of that, if they are not dilute, a test is not done in the diluted serum, then because of the projon phenomena, the test will become false negative. So this would be the conditions where patient has syphilis but the test is coming negative. Okay, so the and it can become positive even without having syphilis. What are the conditions? Autoimmune condition, and the patient and the people who do IV injection. Apart from this, in absence of so these are the in absence of the symptoms or history of syphilis, if a single treponemal test rising, then it will be considered as a false positive only. Okay, so this part you have to remember, that where you can get false. So diagnosis of syphilis is that because of that is difficult, because if initially if the patient has disease, unable to pick it up, so false negative test would be there. And because of other conditions like autoimmune disease and the people who inject drug, there could be false positive test also. Now the recommendation, what the guideline recommends, that EIA and CLIA, these are the screening tests. If they are positive, then a second specimen will be taken, and second treponemal tests are done. RPR is used to when the screening test is positive, and RPR is usually helps in assessing the response to treatment. Now, if the test has to be repeated, it has to be repeated after 2 weeks time. Now, complications of late syphilis or tertiary syphilis. So there could be neurosyphilis, okay, and according to the guideline, they have put so much about this, so much tables are put. So some I have put. So investigation for neurosyphilis, they are doing CSF. In CSF, RPR will be positive, and TPHA will be more than 1,320. Okay. Investigations for CVS syphilis. So CVS syphilis, there would be combined positive serology and the clinical features. The patient has to be seen by the cardiologist. These are the investigations for investigation for ophthalmic syphilis. So there would be symptom and sign combined with a positive syphilis serology. Fundoscopy can be considered. Autosyphilis, similarly auditory symptoms such as new hearing loss, tinnitus, vertigo. Along with this, positive syphilis serology is there. Then the investigation for gamma. So it will be kind of clinical examination. Apart from this, as the lesions are there, so histological examination can be done. And from the nodule, they can even detect the Treponema pallidum also. Now, general advices. So, what the guidelines suggest: all patients with the syphilis should receive sexual health care, like STD screen would be there, and that part I have already explained. And in earlier infectious syphilis, they are usually required to abstain sexual contact till the lesions are resolved and 2 weeks after treatment completion. So this part is important because this is asked in part 2 questions also. After treatment, how much the person has to abstain, and that is 2 weeks after complete treatment. Even in the part 3 task also, you have to explain to the role player that how much abstain is required. So this part is important to learn. Apart from this, new uh, macrolide antibiotics are not recommended because of the resistance, and they have got inability to cross placenta and blood brain barrier. This part is new in this guideline, because in the previous guideline, macrolides were the alternative treatment of choices, and like azithromycin and erythromycin. But according to this guideline, macrolide resistance has developed, and they are unable to cross placenta and blood brain barrier, so they have removed macrolides from the treatment. So this is new in this guideline. Now this part is the most important part that you should be aware of. Now, the treatment of choice for early syphilis: primary, secondary, or early latent. Now, the treatment of choice we already know, it is benzathine penicillin G 2.4 in intra mu, and a single intramuscular dose is given. Okay, so this is a treatment of choice. Second line would be doxy BD for 14 days. This would be kind of alternative regimes. At least one or two regimens you should know. This is procaine penicillin for 10 days, doxy for 14 days, ceftriaxone 500 milligram IM for 10 days, and amoxi 500 QDS plus probenecid for 14 days. So it is important to, this part is important, that part 1 and part 2 and part 3 people, because sometimes you will find your patient would be allergic to penicillin. Then what kind of second treatment you are going to do to this patient? Now, if the patient is non-pregnant, doxycycline you can give, but if your patient is pregnant, then doxycycline you cannot give. In that situation, basically the patient would be sent for the desensitization. After desensitization, they would go for the penicillin, or consideration for ceftriaxone or amoxicillin will be done. Okay, so this usually they ask this kind of questions. Now, recommended treatment for late syphilis, late latent cardiovascular and gummatous, that syphilis. So this is two same injection, benzathine penicillin G, intramuscularly weekly for 3 weeks are given. So this is weekly for 3 weeks, that you already know. Now alternative doxy for 28 days, amoxicillin for 28 days, ceftriaxone. Now it is a high dose, 2 gram, 2 gram for 10 to 14 days. And with the cardiovascular syphilis, usually steroids are given, that is 40 to 60 uh, milligram prednisolone 3 days before the treatment is started. So steroid is given for cardiovascular and even neurological syphilis also. This part I would be explaining. So at least you should have an idea about the alternative treatment, because if they give in the question your patient is allergic to benzathine penicillin, then you have to really look for the answer. And in the previous guideline, as I already told you, that the azithromycin or erythromycin were there, but recently they have been removed. Now, neurosyphilis treatment. So, neurosyphilis treatment, though they hardly ask you in the exam, but minimum two things you can remember. It is procaine penicillin and probenecid. Procaine penicillin 1.8 international unit, and probenecid 500 4 times daily for 14 days. So minimum this much you can remember. As I already told, that the steroid should be given for neurosyphilis 3 days prior. So in in cardiovascular syphilis and also in the treatment of neurosyphilis, steroids are given 3 days prior, for 3 days, 24 hours prior to starting the treatment. So this part you should remember. Okay, and sometime late syphilis, the treatment is given weekly for 3 doses. Many of the time patient would miss the dose. If the patient has missed the dose, and like uh, uh, this um, like the additional dose should not be required if the patient has received dose in last 14 days. Okay, now, because the trypanosomal blood levels of the penicillin retains for 2 to 4 week time. So if the patient missed the dose, then subsequent dose is not required within 14 days of the previous dose. Later than 14 days, the next dose would be given. Now with the HIV, everything is same. Only what they want, routine syphilis serological screening should be done 6 monthly interval. Now rest all treatment part, if the patient has got HIV along with the syphilis, remains same. Only this part is different, that you should be aware of. And the treatment would be slow because of the immunity issues. Now this part is again important. What could be the reaction? So procaine reaction is there. If that is also called as procaine psychosis, procaine mania, or Hogain's syndrome. So why it happens? If there is an inadvertent IV injection of procaine penicillin, so usually the patient would have a fear of death, hallucination, fits. Usually this lasts for 20-minute time. Assurance is fine, and management of seizure, if the seizures is there as per the local practice. So this part was not there in previous guideline. So those who are going for the part 2, you can get this the question from here. Now as the guideline is new, so part 2 people maybe 2 3 questions you can get from the syphilis. Okay, and this part is new, that has been added in the guideline, that is a procaine psychosis, procaine mania, or Hogan syndrome. Apart from this, if the patient says that no, I'm allergic to penicillin, penicillin desensitization can be done. Now what is penicillin desensitization? So penicillin desensitization is done in their immunology center under the guidance of a expert. Usually what they will give, do they give very small doses of penicillin, and every 15 to 30 minutes they would increase the dose of penicillin, and they will keep the patient under observation, and they will keep doing this process unless the patient gets full treatment dose of penicillin. Okay, so this is a penicillin desensitization. After penicillin desensitization has been done, then the patient would be given penicillin only. That would be the treatment of choice. Okay, so that you should be that this part you should be aware of what is penicillin desensitization. Now, reaction to treatment. So there could be reaction to treatment. There could like Xerix Heximia reaction is there, and the treatment is usually symptomatic. Apart from this part I have already explained. There could be reaction to treatment in case of neurosyphilis and the cardiovascular syphilis. Because of that, steroid given, it's 40 to 60 milligram of prednisolone given, OD for 3 days, 24 hour before starting the treatment, anti-treponema treatment, antibiotics. Now, this part again important to for you guys. Now, partner notification. You in UK, the partner notification system is there. So whenever a person is got get diagnosed with the STD, usually they are given a slip. They are usually asked to pass on to their partner so that they can go at any sexual health center and they can get tested. Otherwise, if the patient is refusing, then they have got like trained health professionals, and they will be like notifying their partners. Okay, and this will be kind of confidential kind of things going on. So this is the partner notification. Now, this part I have explained that the primary syphilis, last 3 month partner to be notified, and in early latent syphilis or secondary syphilis, the partner notification of in last 2 years. But the tertiary syphilis, sexual partners of tertiary syphilis should be evaluated clinically, like they are their lifelong partners, and they should go the serological testing and receive treatment based on the result. Okay, apart from this, if the incontactable partners of early syphilis, usually nearing 46 to 60% will also have infection, and they would not know it. Okay, this much number of people will have infection and they will not know it. Apart from this, sexual contact of early syphilis. Now, early syphilis and they are asymptomatic. So there are two choices. Either they would be caught after 3 months time or 12 weeks time for the last exposure. Now, if the patient is not coming again for the rescreening, then they would be given epidemiological treatment. So this is epidemiological treatment: benzathine penicillin single dose or doxy BD for 14 days. Now, this part has been newly added in the guideline. It was not previously there in last guideline. Okay, so this is, so I'm repeating it again. The sexual partners of the early syphilis, either they will be offered epidemiological treatment like this, I have put it here, or they should be rescreened after 12 weeks time from the last exposure. Okay, how the follow up is done? Follow up is done usually with the RPR test, 3, 6, and 12-month time, and after that it is 6 monthly until it becomes negative. Anytime fourfold increase is there, that means either the treatment is not working for the patient, or there had been reinfection. Okay, so this is a brief about the syphilis, in the syphilis that has come in the batch 2024. Any one of you have got any question? Okay, so this is like syphilis in pregnancy. So this is a syphilis in pregnancy update. So, like what the screening committee wants, that there should be screening is recommended to all pregnant women in UK. Why? Because this would reduce the risk of vertical transmission. It can be identified and treated accordingly. Okay. Now, how the vertical transmission can occur in any stage of pregnancy as early as 14 weeks. Okay, spirochete can enter the placenta and cause fetal infection. Transplacental spread increases more in second half of pregnancy, especially third trimester. Apart from this, like fetal loss is common. 30 to 40 percent of the infected fetus, fetal loss is common with the demise of 30 to 40% of the infected fetus during pregnancy. Those who survive, one third will be born with the sign of congenital syphilis. Apart from this, uh, transmission will depend on the stage. If the patient has primary syphilis, then it would be like kind of 100% the child will get it, but it is lower in early syphilis or late syphilis. Like it will be early 40%, in late syphilis chances of transmission will be 10%. So what it suggests, the transmission is more during third trimester. Apart from this, the risk of transmission is is much lower in early and late syphilis, that is 40 and 10. But if we consider primary syphilis, that is the new infection, then it would be nearing 100%. Okay. Apart from this, syphilis in the pregnancy can cause a fetal infection and a hepatic dysfunction. There could be growth restriction, hepatomegaly, thrombocytopenia, anemia, ascites, preterm birth, stillbirth, or neonatal death. Apart from this, these are the common ultrasound features. Okay, ascites, hepatosplenomegaly, and intrahepatic calcification. You can see the intrahepatic calcification here, and placenta is large, placentomegaly. The sometime intrahepatic calcification and placentomegaly, this would be the marker that you will find out for the questions. Now, usually the syphilis is screened. Screening is done in the booking visit for the mother. But any time, if there is change in sexual partner, if the patient is using recreational drug, she's a sex worker, known to have diagnosed with the HIV and hepatitis B, any other STI is there. So that time rechecks for the syphilis would be done. Now, syphilis in pregnancy, maternal treatment not required. Why? When the false positive test is there or there had been adequate treatment, maternal treatment is required if there is an unclear history. The patient isn't aware of it, whether she is treated or not, or whether there had been active syphilis in any stage of pregnancy. Apart from this, now treatment part. So treatment part first, and this we know, but let me revise it again. In if the patient has got early syphilis, first and second trimester, it is the single dose. Okay, but if the early syphilis and third trimester, then two doses are given. Day 1 and day 8, two doses are given. So this part we already know, and I'm emphasizing also because in third trimester, because of the increase, so much of hemodilution is going on. So one dose is not enough. Because of that, they are giving two doses in case of early syphilis in pregnancy if the patient is presented after 28 weeks or in the third trimester. This part I have already explained. If the patient is allergic to penicillin, not ceftriaxone, then ceftriaxone can be done. And because this is usually the role players say I am allergic to penicillin, so you can offer her if she is not allergic to ceftriaxone, that can be offered. And if otherwise, the patient would be sent for penicillin desensitization, and the penicillin treatment would be done. And what is the penicillin desensitization, that I have already explained. Now, late syphilis in pregnancy, this part of the treatment is same. But, there are three, 1, 8, and 15 days. Three doses would be given. This is same as the non-pregnant patient. Now, Xerix hexemia reaction. Now, it usually occurred in 50% cases of the primary syphilis and 90% cases of the secondary syphilis. Apart from this, why it occurs? Because of the large number of spirochetes being killed, so release of cytokinins is there. Pregnant patient may have uterine contraction and the fetal heart abnormality. Usually, with a supportive treatment, it get resolved within 24 to 48 hours. Now, congenital syphilis is divided into early and late, and it is important to remember know what could be the features of early congenital syphilis. So, this is early congenital syphilis. So, the child may have rash, meningitis, stigmata, hepatosplenomegaly, jaundice, deranged liver function test, there apart thrombocytopenia. X-ray, if it is done, it may show petrositis or bloody syphilis, and usually caused by the syphilitic rhinitis. Okay, so this is a nasal discharge, whatever, pink colored. So this is bloody sniffles. So these are the early congenital syphilis. Late congenital syphilis, usually there would be Hutchinson's triad. What is there in the Hutchinson's triad? Hutchinson's teeth is there. So teeth, there are notched teeth. Okay, notched teeth, that is called as an Hutchinson's teeth. There would be interstitial keratitis, eyes are affected, and eighth nerve deafness is there. Okay, so this is a Hutchinson's triad. The same thing, Hutchinson's teeth, interstitial keratitis, and eighth nerve deafness. Other manifestations, it could be saddle nose, like saddle nose, frontal bossing. That means the bones are getting affected, and cluttered joints. That is the painless swelling of the joint. Okay, so these kind of these are the late congenital syphilis features. Apart from this, if you look at the table given in the guideline, similar things are there. Few things that you have to remember: the rash will be blueberry muffin rash. So why it is important? Because you may get question directly from here: blueberry muffin rash, palm and sole may be affected. Apart from this, Kondalaima lata would be there. Hemorrhagic rhinitis, pink color fluid or bloody sniffles can be there. And Hutchinson's teeth, I have already explained. There could be saddle nose deformity. There could be Clutton's joints. There could be peri oral fissures, that is the rages. Apart from this, sensorineural deafness could be there. So much effect that can be done by the syphilis. So just if you can just remember this picture, whatever the things are given in the picture also, then also you are able to manage the answers. Now, maternal risk factors and the risk factor for the congenital syphilis. Now, when the neonate is at a risk, when the patient has not got complete treatment, when the patient is treated with non-beta lactam antibiotics, when the treatment is given less than 1 month before delivery, if it is primary or early maternal syphilis, or fourfold rise in RPR is no, a drop is not achieved. So part 2 people, this part is very important. You will get direct question from here, that which kind of like which what are the risk for which are the neonates who are at the risk of congenital syphilis. Okay, now congenital syphilis at high risk, it is the same thing. Now they have divided into no risk, low risk, and high risk. That part, low, this is not that important. But when the baby is at high risk, same thing I have already explained. When the treatment is less than 4 weeks prior delivery, when the treatment is done with beta lactam antibiotic, when treatment was inadequate, incomplete, uncertain, and fourfold drop in the RPR is not there, whether when it is a primary or early maternal syphilis. This part would be important because you may get question from this part. Okay, apart from this, now this you may get a question from this part also. Now, when the investigations are done, then it is not only the baby investigation will be done. So there would be maternal test and infant test, and they will do test non-treponemal test. for mother and infant, and they will do treponemal test for maternal and infant. Now just see the interpretation. If all are negative, then there is no syphilis, so we are not worried. But if now non treponemal tests are positive, these tests are positive, that means there is a response to treatment. But treponemal tests are negative, that means if the treponemal tests are negative, no syphilis is there, they are coming positive, they may be false positive. Okay, they may be false positive also. Now if both are coming, all are coming positive, then possibility of maternal and a possible fetal infant syphilis is there. So this part you have to remember. Apart from this is very important. Now they will give you that treponema is positive, but RPR is negative. RPR is negative, that means that there had been there is no treatment going on. It has positive, but uh, if these are titers are negative, but TPIA and the treponemal tests are positive, so this will show right now no treatment is being done. Either the syphilis has been treated prior to pregnancy, or this treponemal test may be positive from non non other spirochetal disease, or false positive serology may be there. Okay, so this are little confusing. Let me repeat it again. If all tests are negative, no syphilis. If RPR is positive, RPR may be positive, then it will be false positive test, but there is no maternal syphilis. If all the tests are positive, then there would be maternal and fetal syphilis possible. And if this response to treatment is negative, thus this treponemal tests are positive. So there could be two possibilities: either the syphilis has been treated already, or there had been treatment from other spirochetal disease. Now, it would be important to know that RPR may be positive in the baby because of the transplantal transfers of antibodies. Usually, it becomes negative by 6 months. Okay, so if the baby has RPR positive, we will not say the syphilis is there. We need to look at the titers. If the increase in fourfold, more than fourfold titers are there, then we will from the mother, then we will say that the baby has positive syphilis. Okay. Apart from this, these are the local antibody tests. There could be transplacental transfer, and usually these tests become negative by 18 months time. Okay. Now this part I have already explained. What could be the confirmed case of syphilis? For the congenital syphilis, if we are able to demonstrate treponema pallidum, or if we are able to demonstrate treponema pallidum as a specific antibody, this you guys can read, not that important. Now this is all about the treatment of congenital syphilis. So treatment, this is a treatment for congenital syphilis. This is benzyl penicillin. Now 25 milligram per kilogram of body weight. Now this is this is usually given for 10 days. So much doses is not important. Just remember, benzyl penicillin 25 milligram per kilogram of body weight, it is given for 10 days time. Okay, 10 days time. Apart from this, a second choice will be ceftriaxone. And infant, if they are treated, RPR will be done 3, 6 and 12 month time. And as I already told, the treponemal test, because of the transfer of maternal antibody, so they may get, they would be positive for 12 to 18 months time. And if the baby has neurosyphilis, usually RPR is done 6 monthly. Okay, unless it has become normal in range. Now, in infant feeding, breastfeeding is not a contraindication. If active syphilitic lesions are there on the breast, then only the breastfeeding to be avoided unless the effective treatment is done. This is important because this is asked by the role player in the exam. Now that's it about the bash I have to say. Any one of you have got any question? Otherwise, there are some questions I have kept. Any question, people? Okay. So 28-year-old woman at 29 weeks of pregnancy, she have painless vulval ulcer and inguinal lymphadenopathy. So what should be the treatment? It is very clear. Treatment will be what? Anyone want to reply?
Ma'am A.
Yes. Why I have put C? Okay, the patient is at 29 weeks.
On third trimester.
Yes. Third trimester, so two doses, 1 and 8. C answer. Okay, so patient and antenatal clinic, 28 weeks of gestation, history of syphilis 2 years back. She has been diagnosed with late syphilis, now advised to have CSF test. What are the indication of CSF test? Include all of uh, what are the indication of CSF examination including all except one? So answer is D. So you will do CSF examination in treatment failure, neurological symptoms, HIV, ophthalmic, but why you will do for the cardiovascular? If you have to diagnose cardiovascular, then you will not do CSF examination. Now, 21-year-old woman, she has visited some friend, sexual intercourse. She has got painless ulcer. So, what is the most likely infection? It is very clear. We are doing class on that only. It is Treponema pallidum. Okay, so 21-year-old woman requesting for gonorrhea. She had three sexual partner in last 1 year, but uses condom for contraception. What you will offer so they are asking about the STD screen. So which is the correct answer for STD screen? What tests are done? So what is done in
C.
C? Yes, gonorrhea, chlamydia, HIV, and syphilis. Okay, so this is the 24-year-old woman in genital, like she has got ulcer in the vulva. So which of following is correct? So you can see single indurated ulcer. Can you see? This is single indurated ulcer. So it is what? So what should be the answer?
A.
A. Very nice. So this is single lesion. You guys can see it from here. So it is early syphilis. So the first IM penicillin is the answer. Okay. With regards to syphilis infection, what is the most accurate treatment? Positive incidence has fallen. Positive range is Treponema caretium. If it is not treated, case of primary will progress to secondary. Most of the cases effectively treated with single dose penicillin. EIA is a confirmatory test. So what should be the answer? Most cases, so this will be most,
D.
yes. Most cases will be because benzathine penicillin is a treatment of choice and most cases will be treated according to that. That's it. Thanks for joining. Any one of you have got any question can ask me.
Ma'am, please explain question number 1.
Question number 1.
Yes, ma'am.
Question number 1. This is the question number. This is question number 1. Okay. So
Yes, ma'am.
I will tell you. See, the patient is pregnant, 29 weeks. 29 weeks means third trimester. And when if the patient has got early syphilis, then in first uh, and second trimester, treatment will be the single dose of penicillin. But once the patient comes in third trimester, then two doses are given, day 1 and day 8. 1 week apart, two doses are given. because in third trimester so much of increase in the all hemodilution and all changes are going on in the body. Because of that, though the syphilis is early, but the treatment is given 2 doses. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am. Clear now. Thank you,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yeah, I will also show you. I've shown you previously also. So this is the slide that would help you in answer. Early syphilis in pregnancy, first and second trimester, benzathine penicillin single dose. But in third trimester, benzathine penicillin will be given day 1 and day 8 2 doses. Okay, you can see it from here. Is it clear now?
Yes, ma'am. Clear now. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, welcome. Any one of you have got any question? Any one of you have any question? Okay, people, thanks for joining. And for part 2 people, yeah, all the best for your exams coming. Possibly you may get 1 or 2 questions from syphilis. And part 3 people, all the best for your results. And hopefully next class will be on the thyroid guideline. Bye people. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.